Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my hope and prayer that this video is actually going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I'm fine. Kisumu is also fantastic. Maybe you could let me know where you are watching the video from. The county, like if you are in Kisumu, just say Kisumu, or the country, in case you are outside the republic. Personally, later on today, I'll be in Ndewa. A friend of mine, the Kembe December, lost the father, so I'm going to condole with them today and tomorrow. So I expect if you are in Homa Bay or maybe Migori, we could meet somewhere later today. Now, I was listening to a debate on Citizen TV earlier today. It was hosted by, I think, Newsbreak by Trevor Ombija. It was a very good program. The hosts were also three fine gentlemen. There was Edwin Sifuna, the ODM Secretary General, who is also the Senator for Nairobi. Then there was Silvanus Osoro, who is the majority whip at the National Assembly. And then another gentleman, Kagoshia, who is, I think, is the Member of Parliament for Mukurweni in Nyeri. He's a former speaker from Nyeri, another fine gentleman. And I paid very close attention to the discussion because the discussion was generally issue-based. And they talked on several subjects which are of interest in this country currently. One of them was the issue of Rigathi Gachagwa's case, which has been thrown out by DPP. And I thought, okay. But there is something which they also touched. And I want to talk about it. And I've talked about it before. The idea of removing the presidential term limit. Silvanus Osoro, in his capacity as the majority whip, was very clear that the member of parliament was just excited and that he's taking it as a personal initiative to guide the member of parliament, because the member of parliament, because time is not yet ready for such kind of discussions. But Osoro never really disowned the gentleman. And because in politics nothing happens out of mere coincidence, I will still maintain that whatever the gentleman said was intended to achieve objectives. And the objective which it was intended to achieve was the one which it has already achieved. Osoro, for example, was like, the issue is something which should not even be discussed. Why? Because it's not important. But it was discussed there. So which means that issue is important. Then I remembered that yesterday, the Nandi senator, who is a close ally of William Ruto, also talked about this particular matter. And this is what he had to say. And that's why I'm doing this particular video, to really understand why Cherargei talked the way he talked. Just go to Twitter. I don't want to do any editing on this video, so I'll just post it raw. So Cherargei is saying UDA is an epitome of democracy and rule of law. Honorable Salah Yakub is within his right to push this amendment. Let's listen first. I shall support in the Senate. Honorable Yakub Salah is a member of parliament. He began this discussion. Kenyans are already discussing. And one of William Ruto's key ally, Cherargei, is actually in support of this move. Remember, these members of parliament, they have a WhatsApp group. So it means when this issue came up, probably in that WhatsApp group, the guy was reprimanded, or he was told to go slow. Then Cherargei comes now and support him. Cherargei is a senator. And for these amendments to be achieved, they only required three things, like I explained yesterday. The first thing they require is the public participation, which they will easily do. The second thing they need is the 2/3 in the National Assembly, in the Senate. I'm not so sure about the county assemblies, but probably. And then the last thing they'll require is a referendum. Referendum, they only require 50% plus one. And based on my understanding, they can easily get that. And Cherargei is continuing. This is a conversation that might happen in future by Kenyans on scrapping of term limit of the president. Kazi ni kazi. So the truth of the matter is that a member of parliament, a member of the National Assembly already spoke about it. Cherargei, who is a senator, is already talking about it. UD as a political party, to their credit, and Kenya Kwanza have already disowned this particular statement, this particular gentleman. But nobody is actually coming out. The gentleman went further and gave his reasons for doing whatever he's doing on a national TV, NTV, after he kicked off the storm. But why do you think Cherargei, of all the people, would talk the way he talked? In this video, I want us to concentrate on Cherargei, because Cherargei is a Kalenjin. Cherargei is a senator of Nandi. Ruto is a Nandi, by the way. Cherargei is one of the close allies of William Samoei Arap Ruto. Before we get into all those, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Without the support, this channel cannot be where it is now. Let us get back to the main issue. Why would Cherargei speak the way he spoke? Because in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. What was his objective? Objective number one. This particular statement is actually being used by William Ruto and his key allies to identify real allies. And I want to offer my unsolicited advice to Kenya Kwanza leaders who want favor from William Ruto. The first thing you must do is to support this debate. If you oppose it, you will be marked. That's how politics operate. Forget about the first-term members of parliament. The second-term members of parliament, or those ones there. Those ones, William Ruto already identified them. He knows this guy is with me, this one is not with me. The truth of the matter is that currently a roll call is being taken somewhere. And in that roll call, the true allies are being marked. Anybody who is opposed to it and coming out properly, clearly, will be marked as someone who is not reliable. Because this particular discussion might not be implemented in the first term. The target might actually early second term. So William Ruto would identify those who are opposed to it. You will be removed. You will not come back to parliament. Those who are supporting it will be helped. Like this Yakub guy, I can tell you, as long as Ruto is the president, he will make it again as a member of parliament for Fafi. Because he's still going to be used to advance the narrative. Number two is that William Ruto is also using this to try and gauge or identify his 2027 opponents. In this proposal, they are saying the age limit should be set to 75, which means Raila Odinga out. The only guy who will be there is Kalonzo. That's something which is coming. So they are keen that if Raila will be out, then Kalonzo will be there. But what about 2032? If they cap the age limit, then they remove the term limit, it will mean Kalonzo will be out of the equation. Remember, this same guy was justifying, using Kibaki as a justification. Because according to them, Kibaki performed so well, and therefore, if it were not about term limit, he would have proceeded. But how would Kibaki would have proceeded when they wanted to cap the age at 75? Which means Kibaki would not even have qualified, I think, for the second term. Number three, they also want to monitor the activities of Uhuru Kenyatta. I was telling someone that the moment you push for this, you are going to make Uhuru Kenyatta come back into politics. Because you remove age limit, Uhuru will be there. Probably Kenyans might have, should have by that time realized that, okay, Uhuru was unfairly judged, especially those from Mount Kenya. They will realize that Uhuru actually did so much for them, but they judged him harshly. So they'll want him to come back. Or even Raila Odinga can decide, okay, Uhuru, you stood with me, we kuja. When you are president, I'll be comfortable. So they also want to gauge the reaction. Because if this proposal is actually made to come before Parliament, you should expect Kenya Kwanza members of Parliament to support it. And lastly, I'm also sure that the statement by Cherargei is actually meant to sustain the discussion. And that's why this discussion, in my view, is going to be very, very important moving forward. I don't know what you think. That's my take. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day. Bye-bye.